Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Fitzhogan11, and welcome to the Hack of the Year Awards, the first annual Fitzhogan11 award ceremony. It really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? But anyway, just so you guys know, I am a little sick, so hopefully I sound alright. I'm probably a little hoarse, but I'll try to get through it. Sorry there haven't been videos recently, but when I get out videos, I want them to be as high quality as possible. So we're gonna get down to the Hack of the Year awards. So today's ceremony will be for the Hack of the Year overall. These hacks considered have at least 7 gyms completed, 6 or 7 gyms completed, a lot of gameplay. They look fantastic. So if you disagree with my ratings for the hacks, if you have your own ratings that you'd like to suggest, please leave a comment down below. Hopefully we'll be able to start a pretty cool discussion, and let me know what you think. So like I said, there's 5 hacks being considered. So coming in at number 5, we have the incomplete Pokemon Mirage of Tales by Avara Moon. This is a Pokemon Fire Red hack, and you'll see some gameplay in the background from a previous Let's Play. And I'm going to be grading these 5 hacks on 3 criteria, namely gameplay. So that just means anything from its replayability to its level curving, anything, or story as well. So it's very encompassing. And for Mirage of Tales, I actually have very highly graded at 9 out of 10. They'll all be ranked out of 10, and the cumulative score will determine its ranking. So Mirage of Tales was a very fun game. It had a gameplay that was unlike any other Pokemon game that I had ever played before, which is incredible since I've played quite a few Pokemon games. So there were 2 things that made Mirage of Tales different than any other ROM hack. And number 1, it was you were able to choose a career out of 4 options. I believe they were Criminal Seeker, which is like a policeman, Researcher, and Trainer. And this hack isn't complete, but there were more careers that were going to be instituted in later versions of the game. And the other big part of Mirage of Tales that made it unlike any other, that makes its gameplay grade so high, is that it had a personality system, I guess you would call a ranking for how good or how bad your moral compass is, I guess. So for gameplay, Mirage of Tales did come in second, which is very good out of the 5 hacks. But what it definitely got hurt in is graphics. Now, this was the creator's first attempt at a hack, while most of the other ROM hackers on this list were pretty veteran, pretty experienced. The graphics are pretty plain, they're pretty much Fire Red graphics, and in 2014, a big part of what people are looking for in a ROM hack is new tile systems, new graphics overall, new overworlds, new battle systems, everything. So for its plainness, the graphics did get a 6. The maps were pretty well made, so it shouldn't deserve a terrible grade, but the graphics were just average, so a 6 definitely made sense for that. And lastly, the last grade is popularity. The amount of times people talked about it, the amount of people that were on threads, things like that influenced popularity. I was pretty lenient with the grades on popularity throughout the 5 hacks, since they are pretty much the 5 most popular hacks out there. For other hacks that were considered as nominees, like Pokemon Maze, popularity did hurt them a little bit, and it's a big part. You have to reach out to a wide audience, from the YouTubers that are looking for new hacks, to the casual player, to the player that's looking for the hardest challenge, Nuzlocke challenge ever, some of the Dark Rising too. So anyway, for Mirage of Tales, it got a popularity of 9. People were on that thread constantly. It was amazing. You wouldn't have thought it would become so popular back in January when I first did the alpha on it. It didn't have much to it, and people weren't very high on it, but definitely gained in popularity over time, and it was one of the most talked about threads for a long time on Poke Community. So that's why it got a grade of 9. And you know, if you haven't played it before, I highly suggest that you do. It does go 7 gems, and you know, it would have been nice if the hack had been completed, but there's a lot of gameplay there. You can definitely let yourself get immersed in that. So overall, Mirage of Tails scored a 24 out of 30, pretty good, average of 8. So it wasn't good enough to crack the top 3 or anything, but for where Mirage of Tails started at the beginning of the year, it has progressed quite far. So congrats to the creator of Aramoon for the creation of the hack. Hopefully she'll come back to ROM hacking at some point, because she brought a whole new thinking to the entire system. Coming in at number 4 is Pokemon Glazed, a ROM hack that I actually haven't played on the channel. I have played it personally, so I could rank it for this series. So Pokemon Glazed, you wouldn't really think it'd be considered for Pokemon Hack of the Year in 2014. It definitely deserved consideration in 2013, where most of its releases were. I think there were a couple of releases in 2014, so you can't just discount it. It's a pretty great game, extremely popular. I think Munching Orange was kind of the first big YouTuber to play this game, and from there it just exploded. Every YouTuber played it, and you know, then that helps other people become aware of the hack, and a lot of other people played it. So I personally think that Pokemon Glazed is a little overrated in terms of the graphics and gameplay section. So we'll start off with gameplay. I ranked it a 7.5, which was one of the lower grades for this video. So the gameplay seems a little bit cluttered, I would say. I mean, I want to tread carefully here because I did enjoy the game. It still ranks as 7.5 out of 10, which is pretty good. But I don't think it was as good as people said. The storyline was a little kind of just mashed together. It wasn't as coherent as some of the others on this list. And, you know, the level curving was good. Replayability, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of it. It's kind of a linear path. You don't really have too many choices. You could just play through with another team, I suppose. But once I played it once through, I didn't really want to play it again. It's kind of long. It's a little tedious at points. So that's why I ranked it a little bit low. And for graphics, I also ranked it a 7.5. It looks pretty visually appealing. It's a little strange. It's a little out there. It's not the most visually appealing thing, but it works for what it was going for, what the creator was going for. So, you know, I don't want to take too much away from it, but, you know, there are other hacks on this list, definitely one in particular that looks a lot better, but for graphics it did score the 3rd highest out of the 5 hacks, so not terrible. And then for popularity, it got a 9.5. You know, like I said, everybody and their mother played this game, so it does score very high for popularity, and nobody has really anything bad to say about Glazed. Just the people like me that are saying it's a little overrated, but most people seem to enjoy it. Definitely had a good experience with it, and I believe Red Raiders is planning on Pokemon Glazed 2, which should have a beta release maybe in 2015. I don't know if he's decided if it'll be a ROM hack or an RPG XP maker game. I would assume ROM hack, since it can reach a wider audience with phones and other things like that. So Glazed came 4th. Last year I would have ranked it 1st, I believe. I think it came 2nd on Poke Community to Liquid Crystal. I would have ranked it 1st last year, but this year it had some tougher competition and a lot of different games for it to lose to. So I think it'll win on Poke Community this year, but it's not my choice, so that's probably where people are going to disagree with me in the comments, which is fine. I'm looking forward to it. So off to number 3. Alright, coming in at number 3 is Pokemon Dark Violet, so it earns the bronze medal. It's a Fire Red ROM hack made by Chaos Rush, and it was never completed, which is the only reason that it didn't crack number 1 on this list. I had very high expectations, sky high expectations. It probably would have earned a 30 out of 30 if it had kept going, which is pretty incredible. And the game was stopped around the 6th gym. I think it was after Koga. It's a remake of Kanto with a completely new twist, so I highly suggest you play it, even for the 6 gyms, even if it's not completed. It's definitely worth playing. And the creator decided to cancel the hack because he thought the Fire Red engine wasn't that good. He wanted to make the hack on Emerald, which was an odd decision for how much work he had put into the Fire Red hack. And he said he planned to make Pokemon Amethyst, which would be the Emerald version of Pokemon Dark Violet. I don't know if he's still planning on that. He does a lot of resources and tools that people can use for their own hacks. You see his name always on people who are credited for helping with other hacks. So I don't know if he's going to continue making his own ROM hack. I hope he does. The story was really great up until the point, and the gameplay was fantastic. I did grade the gameplay at a 6, which is the lowest out of the 5, just mainly for the reason it wasn't completed and the storylines weren't finished, which is unfortunate. I was really interested in the red and green storyline. Would they be together? I believe I was also interested in the Team Rocket storyline. It was a long time ago, but I remember that the Heart Gold, Soul Silver executives of Team Rocket were planning something, and it was just really interesting. It had a really interesting storyline. The legends being incorporated, like Mewtwo and Deoxys, actually made it more interesting when usually sometimes legendary Pokemon kind of ruin the storyline, in my opinion. But if this hack had been completed, I would have given the gameplay probably a 9.5 or 10. And it's unfortunate that it wasn't completed, but you know, that's why it comes third on this list. For graphics, it earns a perfect 10 out of 10, way higher than anything else on this list. Heads and shoulders above everything else, I would say. It had a Heart Gold themed graphic system, and it just looked fantastic. You guys have to check it out. You guys are seeing some gameplay on the screen right now. But everything, I really liked Lavender Town. That was probably my favorite, as well as Nugget Bridge. They all looked good, really. So definitely check it out. For popularity, it got a 9. It was one of the most popular hacks earlier in the year, and kind of faded away once the thread closed and the creator decided to cancel. So it does get a 9, since it is more popular than, you know, 90% of the hacks on Poke Community. So there you go, and we are getting to the top 2. I'm guessing you guys know what's left, but we'll get to it soon. Alright, coming in at number 2, Pokemon Adventure Red, made by Rockman Mega Man, who has a new name on Poke Community that I don't know how to pronounce. If you want to let me know, his name will be across the screen probably right now. It's not a very easy name to pronounce. At least I'm making it hard on myself. I don't know. But let's get to the gameplay of Pokemon Adventure Red. It's a game made on Pokemon Fire Red, based on the manga of Red and his adventures. You guys can tell that from the title. But anyway, gameplay is going to get an 8.5 for Adventure Red, one of the highest, actually the third highest of this list. And it has a great storyline. Obviously, the creator is mostly just going based on the events in the manga, but he did add a few of his own events, side quests and stuff, that did make the game more interesting and more playable and replayable. And the level curve was a little off. He did kind of screw around with it a few times with different betas and stuff, and hopefully for the final version it'll be a little more balanced. But definitely the beginning of the game is a little easy for a ROM hack, but it's probably as challenging as, you know, one of the Game Freak official games. So can't take too many points away for the level curve. And I think that's pretty much all about gameplay. It's nice that it has the full Kanto region as well as another region, which isn't complete just yet, but it's going to be very soon in the Orange Archipelago. So I'm definitely looking forward to the conclusion of that and the conclusion to the storyline. Unfortunately, the creator recently said that he's probably going to be canceling Pokemon Adventure Green, which had a lot of gameplay, Blue and Yellow. It's unfortunate, but he definitely put a lot on his plate trying to work with 4 hacks at once. So as long, you know, as he finishes Pokemon Adventure Red, you know, it'll be a nice conclusion to the storyline. He's going to add some events from Green, Blue, and Yellow to Pokemon Adventure Red, just kind of mesh them all together. So hopefully that'll create even one big mega hack that's, you know, gonna be even better in 2015. So we'll see with that. I think have I mentioned graphics? I gave it an 8. It's not great, but it's pretty good. There were some graphics glitches throughout each beta, but they were fixed. The creator definitely worked really hard to fix every encounter, every bug encounter that he faced. He was one of the hardest workers on Poke Community, it seemed, from my perspective, because he, you know, just kept putting out beta after beta, kept improving the hack small bit by small bit. So it gets an 8. Like I said, there's nothing spectacular about the hack graphics-wise, but it's very, very good. I wouldn't say it deserves a 9 or a 10, but you know, 7 or 8 is right where it should be. And for popularity, I also gave it a 9. One of the most played hacks on Poke Community, one of the most discussed hacks, since he is a very active member, unlike a few of the others. Then the hack does receive way more discussion, which is very good for its popularity. Alright, so as I'm choking out the last few words that I need to say about the #1 hack this year for 2014, you probably guessed it, it's Pokemon Dark Rising 2. Now, I really love the Dark Rising series. You know, I wasn't too high on the first one. You know, usually people either love or hate Dark Rising 1, but Dark Rising 2 totally changed the game. The storyline was much better, graphics-wise looked a lot better. Everything about it was a complete turnaround from the first one, whereas the first game was just hard. This game had everything. I like to think most people would say it's a little jumbled, but for a game that's so long, you know, sometimes coherency isn't something that you can keep up throughout the hack. So as I'm voice cracking and coughing and everything, for gameplay, I did give Dark Rising the highest grade, 10 out of 10, which narrowly beat out Mirage of Tales. So it deserved a 10 out of 10, mainly because although it was a linear path that you had to take, it totally immersed me, at least, and I think it immersed a lot of people. You know, it's a game that you can't put down, you just have to keep playing. It's like, you know, I read the Hunger Games and I just couldn't put the book down, I just kept reading it. Kind of like that. It's hard for a creator of a ROM hack, or creator of any game, or any book, anything, to get someone immersed like that. And so for the creator of Pokemon Dark Rising Girl, congrats on that. Definitely have something special with the Dark Rising storyline. Definitely for a creator, they put a lot more time into creating a storyline and as coherent as they possibly could, whereas most creators look at the graphics first, or look at you know, some feature that nobody else has in their hack. You know, I think most creators should start writing out a storyline and then creating their hack based on that. I think that's the best way to go. It worked out for this hack, so, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to Dark Rising 3. I didn't put Dark Rising Order Destroyed as a nominee for this since it was a little short, but for tomorrow, even though it's a complete hack, it will receive consideration for beta hack of the year. So for graphics, it does tie Mirage of Tales for the lowest graphics score at 6. So like I said with Mirage of Tales, it was just okay. It was, you know, right around average or below average for graphics. The creator tried, definitely. Just like Dark Rising 1, you can see the start of the game. The creator tries to make new tile sets and new mapping systems and all that. And then later in the game, for both Dark Rising 2 and Dark Rising 1, you can see they're just kind of taking maps of Fire Red and just implementing them into their game with new Pokemon and new storylines. And that's okay. It means that it won't be near Dark Violet in terms of looks and graphics, but you know, it gets the job done. You know, nobody's playing Dark Rising 2 for the graphics, but they're good enough. So moving on to popularity, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I thought it was more popular in 2014 than Glazed by a little bit. Throughout the year, it maintains its popularity, even though it went from Poke Community to its own website. People still talked about it. You can look at the views on my videos on it, and they're insane because, you know, I have 1,500 subscribers, something like that, and, you know, the views on it are like 10,000. So it's crazy. Obviously, a lot of people are looking for as much Dark Rising content as they possibly can. People love talking about it. And it's one of the most controversial games out there. So I'm sure some people have an issue with Glazed, and some people will have an issue with Pokemon Dark Rising 2 at 4 and 1 respectively. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this. Hopefully you guys stick around for Beta Hack of the Year. Let me know how I did. If you like this formatting, if you like that I did a Hack of the Year at all, let me know. So thank you again, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.